Good afternoon, everyone and all. So usually post sessions are a little bit tiring, but I will make sure that I will not make you sleep more. So let's clap with me one more time so that your sleep goes off. Okay, thank you for this clap. So let's begin with my topic, data to insights to decision in banking, financial services, and insurance. So today I'm here to talk about that what has actually triggered to do analytics, data science, and all in banking, financial services, insurance. With analytics, data science, and machine learning, how it can help banks and insurance. And in an ending note, we can have one video followed by a case study in which I'm going to talk about a case study which deals with how claims, how your premium amount for an insurance company could be predicted with the help of analytics and data science algorithms. So a brief introduction about my organization. So we at Nikhil Analytics are majorly into training, consulting, and manpower deployment, wherein we provide training in terms of classroom, corporate, and institutional. And apart from that, we are involved into consulting majorly for the banks, insurance, healthcare, retail, e-commerce, so on and so forth. Apart from that, we do have our own analytics magazine which deals with different articles which are published by our data scientists, analysts, so that it helps the other users to understand what is happening currently in this domain and how a problem could be solved with their real-time experiences. And then we also help the corporates in terms of deployment of resources in their organizations. So we have in backend a large pool of talent using which we help the organizations in solving their challenges. So we provide training in R, Python in terms of data science, machine learning, SAS, and apart from that, we also deal with databases, that is SQL, then Excel, Tableau, so on and so forth. So I would like to start with my topic. Now if you see BFSI, banking, financial services, and insurance, this domain is a data intensive domain. Okay? If you see on a global platform, daily millions of transactions take place. And what if these transactional data or the data which is generated is not analyzed or analyzed only on a superficial level? What could happen? So see, we have seen in the past that it could lead to financial crisis, market crash, then a country enters into deep recession and a depression. So that is why the need arises to do proper analysis of the data and then understand what data actually says. So then I would like to talk about a bit of 2008 global financial crisis. If you remember, in 2008, we had this subprime crisis which happened, due to which the entire US economy went into recession and depression, and it had a lot of effects on Indian market as well. So what happened that time? So anyone who could help me out? So then we understand what is the need and how we can analyze the data. Can someone who can help me in explaining that what happened in 2008? Liquidity crunch. What was the main reason behind why that happened? Subprime crisis. Could someone tell what is this subprime crisis is all about? Yeah, please tell.
Artificial credit swaps were generated.
Okay.
You had certain loan structures.
Okay. Okay.
These are created into tranches and then sold.
Okay.
At first level, the risk is getting mitigated, but if you retranche these structures again and again,
okay.
the risk is not getting mitigated, just it is getting propagated.
Okay. So I would like to tell the root cause here. See, it was due to the long lending policies, right? You know, to boost the economy, what the government did, they fed lot of money into the market and they made the interest rate reduced. And you know, these banks were giving loans to even those kind of candidates whose risks were very high that they would default. So if you see the different categories to which loans could be given, one is the prime lenders who is, risk is less, that they are going to return back the money, the probabilities are high. Then you have subprime lenders. So where probability is high that they are not going to return back the money. And obviously defaulters, no one is going to give the money. So more amount of loans were issued to this subprime lenders. Okay. Now see, what happened was, to make sure that these loans or these risks are, mitigated, what they did, they took houses as a collateral. So they mortgaged the property. They thought that they are going to mitigate the risk with that in case default happens. But the number of loans which were issued were very high. They did not analyze the data properly, okay? Due to which many of the defaults took place and banks had more number of houses to sold to recover that money rather than buyers. So buyers were not very keen on paying the price based on what bank was quoting, due to which even the buyers were not ready to pay 1/10 amount of that money quoted by the bank. So due to this unbalanced supply and demand, you have seen that your 150-year-old bank, Lehman Brothers, was collapsed. And after that, the effects were cascading. Then came the Merrill Lynch, then AIG. So n number of banks and insurance, large corporates were bankrupted. Okay. So reasons, these could be the reasons like house prices changed, okay, to manage the supply and demand, increase in interest rate, and then after that the effect was collapse of investment bank, and then we had this stock prices crash down, so on and so forth, due to which the economy went into recession and then into deep depression. Now why it matters now? Now why we are supposed to analyze the data? So these were the causes due to which it made these banks and insurance to think twice and thrice before they took any decision in terms of giving the loans, giving any insurance policy, making any claim settlement, so on and so forth. Like you can see that these are the reasons, like to improve the decision making and to understand the consumer behavior, so that based on their real requirement, any kind of products, loans, any kind of cross-selling, upselling should take place, so that it helps them to manage the risk, maximize the profits. Then again, a big challenge in terms of banks and insurance is to understand the customer lifetime value. So anyone who could tell me, what do you understand by customer lifetime value? Yeah, so banks and insurance are very keen to understand that from this specific customer in future, how much revenue could be generated, so that based on that they can allocate certain revenue or resources to hold that customer and to get that revenue. So that is your customer lifetime value. Okay, and to retain existing customer, because see, retaining existing customer can give more revenue with less or optimized price compared to getting the new customer. So that is also one of the challenges these banks and insurance are facing, because market is tough. You have n number of competitors, and again they are catering the same market. Then apart from that, these companies are also facing challenges in understanding the real requirement of the customer. That is why, to recommend right kind of product and services to the customer, they are using analytics, data science and machine learning algorithms. Like you would have heard of, you have recommendation algorithms such as user-based algorithm, item-based algorithms, so on and so forth. And obviously to get competitive advantage in terms of the different competitors. Now if you see, there are 4 different types of analytics available. That is your descriptive, predictive, diagnostic, and prescriptive analytics. Okay, so you would be knowing that what it is all about. So descriptive deals with what has happened in the past to understand that, whereas diagnostic analytics deals with why it has happened, what is the root cause of failure or why a specific event has happened. And then you have predictive analytics, which helps the company in understanding that based on the current situation, what could be the future prediction. Based on the 5-year down the line, 5-year sales, what could be the future sales to be predicted. And then prescriptive analytics means what should be the proper kind of services to be done, or what should be the real solutions given, so that the current losses or any kind of failures company is handling could be managed. Now then, let's talk about what is the data analytics approach in terms of banks and insurance. Let's say any kind of banking transactions takes place. It could be an ATM transaction, it could be an online transaction, it could be any kind of POS transactions which takes place, or let's say a customer has bought an insurance policy. So obviously the companies are interested to understand these transactional data. So first, this data, the transactional data is generated. It would be taken in terms of different sources, such as it could be in databases, it could be in Excel, it could be in CSV file, it could be in the ERP available. So that data has to be first extracted, and then data cleaning, data manipulation if required has to be done, and post that analysis of that data has to be taken. If you talk about analysis of the data, so if you see what kind of analysis and why it is required. So first of all, analysis is required to improve financial business operations and intelligence, in which you can go for analyzing the data in terms of doing customer segmentation, cross-selling, upselling. You can analyze the data for understanding the different investment done in terms of stock market, so that accordingly the portfolio of customers to be portfolio of investment to be done, and on behalf of customer those transactions could take place. Then in terms of new product launches, to understand what is the need and requirement of customer, for that data analysis could be done. And then for giving differential pricing to different customer based on how much relationship a customer holds with banks and insurance company. So different prices could be offered, loan offerings, so on and so forth. And in terms of improving the customer service, the data analysis nowadays is done from the chatbots. You have seen that chatbots are available 24/7, to which the customers could interact, and then that data could be understood, and then sentiments could be understood, and then accordingly the actions could be taken place. Then again, a very big challenge these banks and insurance are facing is anti-money laundering. Recent news, you would have heard that lot of money laundering has happened. So how to stop those money laundering? For that, data analysis has to be done, and then at the end, the banks and insurance could detect such transactions and can help the banks to stop such kind of transactions. Then again, fraud detection. Many of us has faced this in real time, that on behalf of us, the card transaction takes place at some other location, and suppose if we have not done that, so why to face that loss? To stop that loss, banks can take the proper step. They are analyzing the customer transaction data, and if they find any kind of unusual patterns in the transaction, so that time only the alerts are generated, and you would see that many times we would be receiving an OTP. Without that OTP, the transaction do not get completed. So these are certain kind of analysis on day-to-day basis in real time. It happens, which help them to banks and insurance to such to tackle such real-time issues. Then risk management. This is one of the major challenges which banks and insurance face. To manage the risk, banks and insurance are using analytics and data science algorithms. And then to understand the company's cash flow, to manage the operations, day-to-day operations, analytics and data science is used. Now, if we go back, so these kind of analysis at banks and insurance are done on day-to-day basis, and it helps the stakeholders or management or let's say salesperson. Proper decisions are proper analysis reports are intimated, and based on that, the front user, management, stakeholder, the salespeople take decisions, and accordingly, they take the quick decision which help these companies to increase the revenue, manage the losses, and improve the profitability of the company. And also it helps them to reduce the unnecessary cost, which helps them in improving their ROI. Now see, these are the 3 different kind of analytics technique majorly in banks and insurance. Many of you who would be working or who are aspiring to get into banks and insurance and make their career in analytics and data science, these are certain algorithms which you must be focusing. Like for building the predictive models, we have majorly this regression algorithms are used. We have decision tree, SVM, and random forest, which is used majorly. And for optimization of your data and optimization of models, we have SGD models, which is used. And apart from that, for segmentation of the customers, we have this cart and chain models which are used. And these are certain tools which the aspiring candidates who can focus. So for modeling purpose, tools such as SAS, R, Python could be used, and now majorly these banks and insurance, they are using all these 3 tools to analyze the data and manage the risk. And for optimization, Excel, R, and Python is used. For segmentation of the data, still the companies are using SAS. And for visualization and dashboarding, Tableau, SAS, Visual Analytics, mainly in the abroad, and ClickView is used. Now, the top use cases, already I have told many of them, like in case of banks and insurance, analytics data science is used majorly for the fraud detection, to understand the customer lifetime value, to manage the huge KYC data which is generated on day-to-day basis. So banks and insurance are working to automate that process. And then apart from that, to segment the customer, to give the right recommendation to the customer, and to give better insurance policies, to improve the processing of the insurance policies, so on and so forth. So for that, analytics data science is used majorly. Now let's play one video.
Technology is a great enabler, it's a boon. Be it blockchain, be it ML, AI, all the great words. Technologies like this enable you.
So this is about different CEOs, CXOs, chief data scientists talking about how they are using analytics and data science to improve their day-to-day decisions.
Technology is a great enabler, it's a boon. Be be it blockchain, be it ML, AI, all the great words. Technologies like this enable you to have more meaningful, relevant conversations.
Whether it's lending or investments, insurance, everywhere you can use AI, especially in India where there is a lot of under-penetration. For example, even loans. Artificial intelligence in figuring out what could be the payment behavior of a particular segment of a particular individual basis what you can observe from data.
We expect that the entire downtimes, the entire conversion times that currently happen will come down by maybe a factor of 100. You should be able to get a response within a minute, and that's what AI can help us do.
AI helps us model out what is the right experience for the customer, the right product for the customer, and the right pricing.
Two important pegs for consumer. One is convenience, the second is protection. So I do think AI and ML, like including bots and voice and a lot of other areas, are really adding to the convenience piece. At the same time, it can also use to detect fraud, protect your identity.
We're getting a lot of data which can help us do things that were not possible before now.
The more intelligent, the more depth of data that you have, the smarter the insights will be. And over time, I think we'll start seeing a lot more nuanced sort of implementations of AI.
So this is what different banks and insurance companies, CEO and data scientists speak about. Now let's talk quickly about a case of insurance, wherein using this case study, you can understand that how right premium amount can be predicted for a customer. So slide please. Okay, so let's understand about the data. So this is also one of the major tasks which every data scientist and analyst should know. So they should first know what data is all about. So we have different features such as age, sex, BMI. So whether the person who is going to take the insurance have how many children, smoker, non-smoker, region, charges. Now let's understand the data. So when you visualize the data, you get a better understanding rather than just seeing the number. So here, to make you more understand, we can see what are the different frequency of different feature, such as how many male, female we have. So this is an existing data which is available, and using that data, we have divided into train and test. So many of you who are either the learner or who are looking forward to make career in this, or who are already doing or already into analytics data science. So you would see that you have to divide your data into train and test, and this is all these kind of data visualization done on the train data. So you can see the distribution of the data. Then post that. So this is all about, like for example, suppose if the person is or the customer is already a smoker, so what are the previous charges which are, or the previous premium amount the customer has paid, and if he or she is a non-smoker, what is the premium amount paid. So average charges based on region, based on sex, based on BMI. So here we divided the data in terms of like the customers who were smoker, we took it as 1, who were non-smoker, we took it at 0. Similarly, the customers who were obese were taken as, we categorized into greater than 30 and less than 30. And here greater than 30 BMI is taken as 1, lesser than 30 BMI is taken as 0. And then we found out what is the count of obese. Then we did the correlation. In correlation, we have found out the correlation of your dependent variable, that is your premium to be paid, with the rest of the independent variables. And then this is the distribution of the data. After that, your data is divided into train and test. Once it is divided, as you know that thumb rule is 75% is taken as a train data and 25% is taken as a test data. So after that, on the train data, we have built the regression model, and then the model is validated using the test data. We have different techniques to do that. So after doing that, we have done the predictions of the premium amount to be paid. So based on that, model score has come out that accuracy of the model is 75.15%. And we have done prediction in two ways. One way, the age is, we know the customer's age, whether he or she is obese or not, and whether the person is smoker or a non-smoker. So based on that, we have got 3 different types of premium amount prediction. One is with the age, and the BMI is greater than 30, and he or she is a smoker. For that, the premium amount predicted is around 40,000. Let's say the other one is the age, and the person is an obese, and he or she is non-smoker. For that, 16,000 around is the premium amount to be predicted. And the other category for prediction of premium amount was age, non-smoker, non-obese. So that is one type of prediction. The other prediction using the model which is done is age was there, BMI was available, and smoking. So based on that, different predictions have been done using the model. So for more understanding, you can come to our counter and you can ask different questions. For now, I am open for questions. Any questions? So as I told in the starting that we have worked in different domains such as banks, insurance, healthcare, e-commerce. These are the major domains in which we have undertaken the project, and we have delivered the results to the client.
I mean, what can, like you mentioned, insurance cost.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the kind of problem you worked on, or there are other kinds of problems?
There are other kinds
Can
of
you
problems. This is
mention
just
a few?
for the case study purpose, but there are different challenges and problems which we have solved. You can come to our counter and discuss. So because it is little difficult to disclose the name of the client.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, sir, I am not able to hear. Please use mic.
You said that you also work on the healthcare side.
Yes.
It's an analytics side, or it is on the regular convention transaction side?
Sir, it is on analytics side.
So when you say the analytics side, so analytics and the health, because we work on the healthcare.
Okay, sir.
So it's both clinical, non-clinical.
Okay, sir.
So
We have worked on sales data of pharma company.
Oh, it's a pharma. Pharma
Yeah.
is not a healthcare.
So
Pharma is a
pharma
life
comes
science.
under, sir, broad.
It's a life
If we
science, it's
take,
life
sir,
science.
healthcare only we
But
consider.
even, okay, that even if you have now work on the file, where do you get the data?
From the client.
No, before going to the client.
So before.
When you go, you are going to the client.
Okay.
You have to pitch in with some model.
Sir, actually what happened is small companies came to us and they have given us the data. We have solved the problem and then we took it as a POC and we have given it to the... The data they are giving, because they are finding it difficult to get their work done in optimized cost. So there are companies who comes to us.